You're listening to Dumpster Diving with
Janice,
and Jane. And we are here on Labor Day, September
laboring,
2nd,
laboring.
2024. We are laboring away on the day that we shouldn't be,
I know.
but we're here for you
But
guys.
we have to, acknowledge the fact that we have, I can't say slacking. We haven't been slacking on recording. We've just been so fucking busy in the rest of our lives that, yeah, time
Uh,
keeps slipping. And then it's 2 weeks and then it's like, gosh. So yes, we're laboring for you guys today, but because we haven't labored in a while
in this form,
in
on
this
this
form.
format,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we've
we're
been
laboring
laboring,
everywhere else.
we've been laboring so much we shouldn't have asses left, but
A freaking
I do.
men, a freaking men. But it's good to see you. It's been a minute. We and like I'm on the cusp of heading to Orlando tomorrow to be with my grandbaby for like 16 days. And so we
16
know
days.
16 days. Actually,
Where
I'm
do you
coming
get all
back.
this vacation time? Like, what?
It's no, 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 no. That's the reason I'm going there because I'm working from there because she'll be at daycare, right? So she's gonna continue her
Uh,
routine. Mom and dad are gonna be in Italy. She'll continue her routine. I'll work from their house. The only difference is that I had to like black out the month so that I'm not traveling, obviously, anywhere else. So, which is
got it.
such a relief. I've been on the road so much that I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm super excited about being with her. I'm super excited about planting myself and not moving for a few weeks. So yeah, so I get there tomorrow. Mom and dad leave Friday. She and I have, about 10, 12 days on our own. And then I get to bring her back here. And then mom and dad are meeting us here. And then it's wedding time. So
Oh my
September 2nd.
gosh, that's
I know.
crazy.
It's so crazy, so
That's
crazy. So I'm
insane.
super excited. And like I was saying to you before we started recording, today has been about like trying to pack and organize the house because I'm going to be gone and all the moms out there will relate to me like going through the refrigerator and cleaning the stuff out that I know they're not going to eat because it's just going to be rotting when I come back. And yes, my younger sister Jane was kind enough to be like, or you could just ask them to throw stuff away. And I was like, really? Really? No, no. Too much of a control freak.
I
Can't do
was just about to say, like, who am I kidding? And what am I trying to say? Like,
it.
you
I do.
won't let anybody do that shit.
No. No. But
Ah,
also, it's also because, in my defense, it's also because when we get back, it'll be like a week. Well, actually, with the day after we get back, people are going to start coming in for the wedding. And so, like, now the refrigerators are clean, right? Like, it's all that kind of stuff, too. So,
got it, got it, got it, got it, got it.
anywho, super excited.
Um,
And yeah, so that's been it. It's been like a mad, mad rush up until
okay.
this point. So,
No.
yeah, yeah. How about you? What's going on?
Oh my gosh. Well, as you know, year after year, we have summer camp at work, during June, July, and August.
And now it's wrapped up.
And that's one of the most fun times of year. No, it really is, but it is so much work.
Yeah.
And when you're responsible for at least 100 kids and they're running around your
Oh yeah.
workplace and you're still trying to get like regular work done and everything else. As I've gotten older, I've noticed that I'm much more affected by anxiety and being triggered by little things.
Yeah.
And noise is one of them. And
Hmm.
let me just say that the 8 weeks is grueling.
Yeah.
Summer camp, a new set of 100 kids come in each week and all the fun stuff.
Wow.
It's insane. And I work like 15, 16-hour days for eight
Yeah.
weeks straight for the
Yeah.
most part. So I really needed a vacation and it was my birthday. So, yeah. So it was my birthday a couple weeks ago. And so I took a week off and I went to
Love
Big
it.
Bear with my friend. And
Nice. How was
yeah,
that? So fun?
actually, like it was really good. We had a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Um, don't know if all for our Southern California listeners or California listeners, going to Big Bear during the summer, it's really inexpensive. So I
Yes.
think like 2 nights, we had our own cabin, it has a
Yep.
two-person jacuzzi and all the things, like
Nice.
$59 a night.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
was like, what? So we had our own cabin, we had a
Nice.
jacuzzi. Oh, we had fun.
And it's such a
Um,
sweet little town. Like
it's
it's
so
just like
cute.
cute
Yeah. Well,
restaurants, all the things. Yeah.
yeah, and it reminds me, it's so funny because then like a couple days later, I introduced him to my town
Yeah.
and he was like, "This is Big Bear mini Big Bear." I was like, "I
Yeah.
know."
Yeah.
He's like, "This is
True.
crazy." I'm like, "It's
Yep.
really true. My little town is super quaint and
It
cute,
is.
and
It is.
it's just it just is what it is." But no, so we had a good time. We got out of the city for a couple of days because he's
Good.
from Watts, like city, like
Seriously.
hey, like we're in
Yep.
inner city LA. So
Yep.
it was nice for both of us because I work in inner city LA. And so
Yeah.
he's from there. And so it was nice to get out of the chaos and just like listen to crickets at night, and
Beautiful.
take a bubble bath and have some good food and just
Yeah.
listen to music and do whatever we
Good for
wanted to do.
you. I
Yeah.
love
So
that.
it was like a really good birthday and he's super sweet and all the things. And so it was like it was a really pleasant time. So it was very nice.
Good. I'm
Yeah.
so glad. Good,
Yeah.
good,
And
good.
then he had to leave for 6 weeks.
Oh.
He's on tour with an artist. He does
Oh, how
celebrity
fun.
security. So yeah, so he's on
Right.
tour with an artist. And so he's doing that now. So we FaceTime and all the fun things. And I'm watching his dog.
Oh.
She's beautiful. She's a pit bull XL pit bull. So
Okay.
she's ginormous, but she's the biggest baby of all time, and she drools, and she's just beautiful, and I love her, and I pinch her cheeks. She's
How are your pups adjusting to her?
Oh, they're fine now. Yeah, the first day or two, Kiwi's like, I thought I was the boss, but now there's this
That's right.
big bitch in here. She's huge compared to my little frame, and I don't know if I can push up on her because and it's so funny. Dogs are so funny. I love animals, and anyways, so the big dog just pushed Kiwi into the ground when she was getting a little snippy, and Kiwi learned that she shouldn't do that. So
Oh my gosh.
but they're all happy and harmonious, and we have her for the next 6 weeks, and she's just a big baby,
Nice.
and I love her. So
Oh.
everything's going pretty good.
And the
Everything's
girls are back in school.
and he
Are
started
just
high
I
school.
know.
Oh, my little Jenny, and she's so
I
cute. I just
know.
love her so much, and
Oh.
she made a new friend already, and just yeah,
Oh, I'm so
everything.
glad.
Things for mom are stressful and crazy because of just
Yeah.
life, but the girls are doing good, and
Good.
we're making everything work. So
Good. Love
yeah,
that. Good, good, good. Well, let's I'm thinking we're gonna get into it, yeah. So I
yeah.
think this week is
Well,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say we do have a little celebration, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, but as I was logging in and getting prepared for the last hour and a half waiting for you, I mean,
I know.
getting ready
So
for the
true.
call,
So true. So true.
we have a listener email.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Okay, hold on. Wait, sorry. If we were editing, we would cut this out and then you would say it, and then I'd be like, of course we do. We have millions of them. What's your point? So I blew it. It's
But
my bad.
everybody knows we only have 5 listeners, so I'm so
That's
excited.
true.
I've never heard of this person.
That's true.
However, however,
Okay.
I would like to fulfill their request.
Cool.
Though it's not per se our format, but I think we can make it fun.
Okay.
This person is asking for brand new baby advice. I know. Like, when do you start introducing solid foods? Like, this is for real parenting stuff, you guys. So we actually got a real Janice is so excited right now.
I'm so happy.
So
I'm
I
so
love it.
happy.
I love it because this new dad is gonna,
Yeah.
whether it's fake or not, you guys, I'm
I
excited.
care.
We're gonna fucking answer those questions. So next call,
Yes.
next episode, we are going to be prepared with some well thought out and funny question or funny answers for you.
Well, and here's what I want. So we're gonna record today. We're gonna get this posted. People are gonna listen. Anybody who listens, if you have your own, right? If you
Ooh,
can think back to when your kids, if you have children or nieces, nephews, whatever, were little babies, right? And you think back
yes,
to that experience, if you could do it over again, what's
yes,
the advice you would give yourself? So we would love to hear from a few more of you.
yep,
The email, of course, is in the show notes. And that way we can share not only our own, but
right.
also some other folks who are listening in.
Well, you know what we can do too is at the very end, I'll bring up the email and we'll rattle off a couple of the questions
And
so
that'll be
people
the
have
prompt.
context.
I
Yep.
love it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I
So
love it.
yeah, I forgot to tell you that, and I'm glad I was
Yay.
able to tell you because that's exciting.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the beginning of an onslaught. We're gonna have so
Ah,
many emails we're gonna have to record
avalanche of
every
emails.
fucking day. I
Yeah,
love it.
avalanche of
I
emails.
love it. I love it. All right. Well, speaking of advice, because that's, definitely as people have been listening, they know that one of the things we've embraced is this idea is that beyond our own stories, right? There's a lot of life experience, expertise, whatever you want to call it, that we bring to the table on a lot of different fronts. And so we've been really excited to like shift a little bit to this new not new but kind of new approach, and as we've been waiting for our listeners to just pile it on, we've been using Reddit as a place to go, right? Because there's so many things in Reddit where people are like posting, here's my problem, and then lots of people comment. And so today we've picked a couple of them for you ahead of time. I went into the Reddit string that's labeled Am I the Asshole? And it was so interesting because so often those are like so hilarious. And this one ended up actually being really serious. And I
Serious.
just thought to myself, like, why would you think you're the asshole? Like, that's such an interesting way to be thinking about yourself.
Right.
But it honestly, before I go into it, I will say it hammers home. I've been thinking a lot recently about this idea of like our own perception of ourself and our
Yes.
perception of self-value, etc. And so before I get into this, a quick tangent. I just finished reading a book called A Little Life. And about a month ago, somebody recommended it to me. I can't remember who. I wish I could because part of me wants to punch them in the face because this is probably one of the hardest books I've ever read. It's fiction. I'll look up the author for you guys and I'll put it in the show notes. It was one of the most painful books I've ever read, and yet
Oh
I
my God.
could not read it. And it's about the life of four friends, men, four friends. And in particular one of them, and this I'm going to call him the main character. He essentially for the first 15 years of his life was he had been abandoned at birth
Oh,
and was passed around between a series of different places where he was sexually assaulted and
oh my
abused
God.
terribly and all the things. And the story picks up when he's like essentially emerged from that and gone to college, and it picks up with that. But so much of the story is about their perceptions of themselves and their
Woo.
sense of like his, especially like how he came out of that literally believing that he was trash, and yet made this incredible, beautiful life for himself, but could never see it for what it was because he always felt like he was fooling the people around him, that really he was trash
Imposter
and they all
syndrome.
thought he
Yeah.
was, right? Exactly. Like the
Yeah.
world's worst case of. So, like I said, so painful to read, like, and yet beautiful. So I couldn't stop. I finally finished it today. I was like sobbing my eyes out this morning. Probably a good thing that we had to delay a little bit. Otherwise, I'd
Did you
be
put some masks on?
super, super
Collagen
puffy eyed.
masks?
And
That's
all
okay.
that to say that like this kind of ties to this thing and Reddit. I'm going to ties to it because I just really what it made me one of the couple of moments I had, Jane, were like moments of just being so grateful because we've talked about this before and we can't explain it. Like it's a true phenomena in terms of like how we went through the shit we went through, but came through it not believing we were trash, not believing that
Well, I think we
believing we
still
could
have those
become who we could
thoughts.
become.
Yeah, but I still think, and I don't want anybody to think that we are just like, oh my God,
No,
because,
not at all.
no,
Yeah.
because I still struggle with that shit.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
day, like honestly, like that kind of stuff is, I mean, and it could be just a fleeting moment
Yeah.
where you have that little bit of self-doubt. It still is there
Yeah.
every single day, but it's whether you're going to listen to it or not,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
whether you
Very true.
believe it or
Yeah.
not. Because it's definitely still there. I mean, I just mentioned in a meeting the other day, a couple weeks ago, whatever, at work, and I'm like, that shit gives me imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
But identifying what gives
Yeah.
you imposter syndrome is half the battle, right? Like
It is half the
what's a
battle.
trigger
Agreed.
or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Agree.
but I don't disagree with you because
But it's
identifying
still it's
is
different.
understanding it.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're absolutely right. And I agree with you in terms of like I spend so much time coaching women around this idea of like not letting that negative voice drive them and confronting it and acknowledging, like you said, where it comes from and what it is. I think what struck me about this story was that it was so much deeper seated. Like I can honestly say I don't have thoughts of like, because of what I went through as a child, I don't deserve a
True.
good life, or I'm ashamed, or I don't carry that stuff anymore. I did early on, of
Oh
course,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
fortunately, and again, I can't explain why my own brain was able to process it all in a way that I don't carry that forward, right? And so that's, I think, what I mean when I say I'm grateful for that, because realizing that there are plenty of people who've had experiences like we've had, who literally wake up every morning wishing they didn't
Hating
have to wake
life.
up that morning,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, we've definitely talked about that and we can get on to the story, but I mean,
yeah,
again, at the end of the day, it really has to do with outlook.
yeah,
What do you see moving forward
yeah.
versus what other people see moving forward,
And the people you surround yourself with, I think, is another really big part of
Yeah,
that.
let's
Like,
talk
I
about
just
that.
really, more and more, I just believe that your day-to-day experience is so influenced by the people you choose to surround yourself with. And that the older you and I get, and we've talked about this, the more I'm like, I don't have space and time for people with negative energy. I just don't. Life is too short. I'm
Right.
halfway through this life. Like, I
Me
know that
too.
already.
Yeah, like,
I
yeah.
am not going to spend a second of it wallowing in shit,
Self,
right?
yeah.
Because somebody else has that negative energy. It's like, no, no, I can easily find ways to very politely not be around, you
Yep.
know? Yeah,
I'm excusing myself from the situation right
exactly.
now. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right,
So
let's talk
anyway,
about this story.
so it ties to this because, the title of this was, Am I the asshole for screaming at my father and his wife and refusing to stop until I said what I needed to? And so usually these are really kind of funny and just like
Right.
and this one, so then I started reading and I was like, oh, fuck. So this is like a 16-year-old
Right.
who lives with dad, has lived with dad since early on. Mom has a history of mental illness. Doesn't She was young enough when she came to dad that she doesn't really have many memories of mom. And early on, when she was like 5 or 6, dad remarried. And so this stepmom has been in her life, has raised her. Like, she has been the mom figure. But what she's experiencing now, like, she had siblings, she's, you know, has all the things. But what she's experiencing now is that she herself sees in herself signs of mental illness, signs of depression, signs of some other things. And she knows she needs help. And what's happening at home is dad and the mom, or the stepmom, refuse to acknowledge it. And so now they're turning it into, every time she brings it up, they turn it into, why are you trying to talk about your mom when your mom who raised you is here? You make her feel bad when you talk about your biological mom. And she's not really trying to do that at all. She's trying to say, listen, it runs in my family. I'm having these symptoms. Yes, I need some help. What we don't know is, like, is it stigma? Is it like, what is their why? But their reaction. So it all, I guess, culminated where she ended up in a screaming match because they kept trying to stop her from talking. And so she just started screaming until she said it all, right? Like the mom and the mental health history and all the evidence she has, et cetera, et cetera. And of
Right.
course, now, it's that whole like nobody's speaking to each other. And she does say, the thing that I felt bad about is that my younger siblings were home, right? And so they could hear all of it. But am I wrong to, like, finally just get to a breaking point and say everything that I had to say in order to get it said, basically?
Right.
Yeah.
So, what are your
So
thoughts?
I mean, honestly, I think for me, this all comes back to the mental illness piece, right? Like, again, we can't, when we read stuff like this, we can't know all the context, which is why we're excited to, like, get to a point where maybe we're bringing some people on with us so we can ask questions and better understand, et cetera. But for now, in this, the thing I really landed on from the perspective of, like, if I were going to give them some advice, is the mental health piece, and trying to understand what dad and stepmom's issue is. Is it that they're scared that she might really be mentally ill and they're scared of what that could mean, so they're trying to avoid it or ignore it? Is it that it does tie to the real mom, and they don't want to deal with that because that's painful? Or is it that they are just some of those people, and there's still plenty of people who don't believe, right, that mental health
The
is a real
cultural thing.
illness,
Yeah.
right? That it's really, the whole, like, if you tried harder, you just need to be more disciplined. And I'll give you one example, probably, well, two quick examples, and then I want to hear your thoughts. One is, back in the day when I was a special education department chair at a high school, and we had an Indian family, and their daughter had come to our school, and she was severely disabled, like mentally retarded. And I know that's not the right lingo now, but I also know it's lingo people will recognize. But her actual cognitive ability was below the marker for
Okay.
someone who had significant delays. And she was, the nicest kid, the best kid. And so we did all that testing. We came to a meeting where we were identifying kind of what the testing showed us. And the dad and the mom were both there and nice as could be. And usually, when you find a child eligible for services like that, there's a little bit of grief that comes with it from parents, right? Like it's so sad and scary to think about your child needing extra help. But in their case, it was very much like, thank you so much for doing all this to find all this stuff, but she's fine. We don't need to do anything. Like, we don't need it. She doesn't need extra help. She doesn't need extra. And we were like sitting here going, most people are like going, how much help can my kid get? Like, we want to give them all the things. And finally, when we kept talking, and finally what we discovered, and they were so sweet about saying it, was in our culture, if she has an identified disability, we cannot find her a husband. So we can't accept this official disability for her because then we won't be able to get her a husband. And that's where they were operating from,
Wow.
right? And very sincerely,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
just it
But
was
that makes,
really
I mean, it's
weird.
not a bad thing, but it's like
No,
that's their culture, like,
that's their experience. That's their so that's a little bit different than just outright stigmatizing. But I'll say I have a close friend who in the last few years, we've been having a lot of deep conversations. And I remember we had reconnected, and I remember early on, um, her talking about her kids' mental health, but talking about it in a way of like I don't want him to get meds because he just needs to try harder. He just needs like not really believing that mental health can stem from a chemical imbalance. And I
right.
was so shocked because she's college educated, she's our age group. And it made me realize, wow, there really are still people out there who believe that it's not real.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I mean at that you can add in historical, I mean, I don't want to link it all to trauma, but I mean, a lot
Sure,
of our behavior is based off of trauma.
of course.
We don't want to repeat that history because it didn't feel good,
That's right.
and that's where the historical trauma comes from is like, oh,
Yeah.
remember when our ancestors did that, this is what happened, and people go decades
Yep.
moving forward with that mindset and just trudging forward with that because that's what they've always known. And
Yeah.
it goes back to when we've talked about many of these things is like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
We only know what we're exposed to. We make the best decisions based off of what we know. That's it. Not
Yep.
off of what we don't know, because why
Yep.
would we be making a decision off of that? So we make the best decisions that we possibly can. And unfortunately, or as it turns out, a lot of decisions we make as humans hurt other people.
Yeah.
And so, and again, these parents may be thinking that they're doing the best thing that they possibly can based off of what they've always done and always known, but it's not always the right answer,
Yeah.
and so when it comes to this particular young lady that, did her question on there, my answer is no, you're not the asshole.
Yep.
You're really not. And I mean, it just sounds like your my households that we lived in. Like it's just like oblivion,
Yeah.
oblivion. We're gonna live in oblivion, and we're going to just act like everything's just fine.
Yep.
Everything's good. You're alive. Like that.
Exactly.
That's the ultimate goal. Like I'm doing my basic job by keeping you upright.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that
Yeah.
was the basic
Yep.
basic is keep your children alive. That was our foundation. You just
Yeah.
keep them alive, whether they're happy or not, whatever, they're alive, and you
Yep.
cannot say I killed my child.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
It's a
really
win.
how I felt as a kid,
It's
like
a
you're
win.
keeping us alive, all right.
You're right.
So when it comes to the harder topics, because here you go, like it's not just them not listening to her, it's them dealing with their own bullshit that
Yeah.
they have to work through, and now they have to admit that they have a child that might have some mental health issues. And mind you, this is just how it's unfolding in my brain, is like this is stuff from my ex-wife, from her mother, her biological mother. This is something that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to act like it doesn't exist, and then this is something that she can handle later on down the road. You are doing your child a huge disservice by
Yeah.
ignoring these issues. And if you have a child that is emotionally intelligent enough to tell you that they feel like they have a mental health disorder because
Yeah.
of things that are going on, and thoughts and actions and whatever, and they're asking you for help, go fucking get them help.
Yep.
Go get them fucking help. I don't care if they think that they have an eyelash in their eye. If you can't get it out, go get them help.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I
And
say
relieve yourself of the pressure of being the one to say you
you're
do or
not
you
the
don't.
expert.
You're not
Yes.
be willing to say, you know what? I can't possibly know or understand, so we're just going to get you some counseling to see.
Yeah. So
Let a
like,
professional figure it out.
yeah, when they have a rotten tooth, you don't go grab a pair of pliers out of the backyard and go, let me be
Well,
your
some people
dentist.
do. Some people might, but yes, for the most
Okay,
part, I hope
well, when it comes to children, if you want to do your own dentistry, I am fine with that. And just send me the video because I'm interested.
not.
I'm curious. But if it's your child, please don't break out the pliers, but
Please.
like literally you have to break it down like that. Are you the expert? No, you're not a fucking expert. Who made you the
Exactly.
expert, right?
Exactly.
So go get professional help, please. For the love of God, get your children professional help. We're not experts at anything when it comes to that. Nobody is. But there are people trained in these different areas. And just listen to your kids.
Well, and I think
How
it's
hard is that?
so, I agreed, right? And I think that I get it, like we say all these things out loud, and still, it's amazing how quickly I feel like the human brain experiences shame. And so
Oh,
immediately, right? And I can only assume that if mom had such a significant mental illness early on that she lost custody of children, it must have been pretty serious. So,
here.
what I would like to think is like, given everything we know about biology now, that you would actually be on the lookout for, right, indicators. And to your point, if your child's emotionally intelligent enough to raise it with you. So I would add to what you said in terms of advice. No, you're not the asshole. That clearly you had reached a limit because
A
you're so
breaking point.
scared or you're so concerned or what have you. But we also know that that screaming match didn't necessarily get you where
No.
you to go, right? That it was really kind of an evolution, and that's just kind of where you lost your shit. So now, right now, the really important thing is, if it's not going to be your parents, how do you get help? And the beautiful thing
Right.
about the world we live in
Cool.
now is there are a lot of places that a 16-year-old can go on their own and say, I need help. And if you haven't already, go to school tomorrow, go talk to your guidance counselor and say, this is what's happening and I need help. And they are going to help you, right?
Yes.
Now, it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be easy. They're going to call your parents because in most
Yeah.
places they have to, right? Um, but they're also not going to ignore it, right? And they're not, and they might be the people
They
from the school
shouldn't.
perspective who can help your parents deal with, okay, we actually have to deal with this. They might be the people
Right.
who can support your parents in helping you think about it. Because clearly you can't, and you need to let that go. You need to let go of trying to be the one who helps them help you and
Right.
instead go to some other adults who will, and then maybe they'll help bring your parents along. Maybe they won't, right? But at the end of the day, the most important thing for you to do is get yourself some treatment. And so,
Yeah.
whatever it takes.
Yeah. Advocating for yourself is 100%. I mean, you and I both grew up in unsupportive
Yeah.
households and everything else, and we really leaned on the people around us
Yep.
for that support. I mean, I found that support with other adults, and stuff like
Absolutely.
that. So if you're not getting the support that you need at home when it comes to that, find a trusted adult to help
Exactly.
you that
Exactly.
is going to be constructive and not destructive,
Yep.
because there are
That's right.
plenty of destructive adults out there that
Oh,
were
yeah.
wanting to help you with this kind of stuff. But be smart about it and make sure that there's no ulterior motives because people are always waiting in the wings for,
Exactly.
vulnerability. But just
Exactly.
really go to somebody that you actually trust, that you feel like is going to actually help you, and have them help you talk to your parents.
Yeah.
You know?
That's it. I think you're right.
Yeah.
So that was mine. Mine was
Okay.
crazy. And honestly, that I'm sitting here thinking to myself that maybe what we should do, and I don't know how Reddit works, so I don't know if you can, but if Reddit will let us put a link, then once we record this and post it, we should
Yeah.
put the link in the comments so
Yeah,
that
we talked about that last time. I think it's a
yeah,
good idea. I
yeah.
think that yeah.
So to the extent that it's helpful. Okay,
Yeah.
so period, new paragraph.
New
What you got for
paragraph.
us?
So I was having a hard time finding anything that would just pop up.
Yeah.
But I did see one at the beginning when I started reading, and then it disappeared. So I don't know if this person took it off of the thing or whatever as I was
Okay.
reading it. How
Could
rude.
be. They
But I
sensed
was
you were
going to
there
use
and they
their
were like,
story, but you take it off. I no longer
Can't
see
talk
it.
about it.
Moving
That's
on.
right.
Moving on. So, so I found a different one, and this is
Okay.
relationship stuff, and I giggle because I am dating and I am seeing somebody, and
Yeah.
we all know this, right? So I'm in the mix. I'm in the thick of all of those things. And the question on the original one was, are all guys my age just into younger women? And I was just like, okay, she's first off, she's out like around our age. We're not
Yeah.
that old. And we're very vibrant and dateable and all those things. Not you because you're married, but
Being married doesn't make me undateable.
well, no, it still makes you totally scrumptious. I just want to make sure that,
I make sure.
that you
Yes.
can't date.
Yes. I choose
It's,
not
it's
to.
frowned upon in your
It's frowned.
relationship.
It's frowned upon. I feel like we are on Downton Abbey now. It's frowned
Yeah,
upon.
it's frowned upon in this establishment.
All right, fine. For that reason, I will not do that.
Sorry. Well, you're welcome, Joe. Like,
I know.
Jesus.
He'll be
Like, I got my
appreciative of me
brother-in-law's back
being
over
out
here. My
there.
sister's
Yeah,
trying to
it's
date
true.
other people. Jesus.
I know.
All right,
I know.
anyways,
So
thinking that she can just go date anyone she wants to. All
just want to go on the record.
right.
Dateable. All I'm
I'm
asking.
dateable. Damn it. I'm dateable and I'm
All
likable.
right. But you are the one who is actively dating. So
I am the one that's actively dating, crazy as that is. Okay,
I
so
know.
this is a relationship one. Okay,
Okay.
so a relationship advice.
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so it says, my girlfriend, in parentheses, 28 female,
Okay.
admitted to me, I'm a 30-year-old male, that her ex gave her the best orgasms.
Oh my
How
God.
would you feel? Oh my God.
Okay, so parents, if you're listening, this is where you pause because the rest of this conversation is not appropriate for your children. So you're just going to want to pause the podcast right now
Disclosure. 18
and unpause now that the children are gone. Go
Okay.
ahead. Okay.
So let me just read the quick little message, and because it's not too long. All right. So my girlfriend and I have been dating for 2 years. Things were fun at first, but things have been kind of safe lately, or stale lately. I've told my girlfriend in the past that sex is important to me. I know it's not everything, but I just like to have fun. But over time, it's become less and less. For months, my girlfriend has been asking me to propose, and she's already done some wedding planning for fun, like venue ideas, guest list, seating chart. While I do
Oh,
love her, I can't propose yet until I know we have finally fully, until I know we'll have a fully happy marriage. Okay, pause, time out.
there's so much.
Let me break this down because we're gonna have to break this one
Wow.
down.
Yeah, there's so
Okay.
much.
All right,
Yeah.
homie. Okay, first off, you can never make sure that you will have a fully
Nope.
happy marriage.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
That
Nope.
is impossible. So you're telling us that you're never getting married is really what
Exactly.
you're saying.
If that's what
Okay.
you're waiting
All right.
for, we can cut to the chase and let you know you're single forever.
So now that we know you never want to get married,
Yes.
fine. Okay. Yesterday, I found a note in her phone. Time out. Why are you going through her phone? I feel like
So
there might be some trust issues. I don't
I
know.
think perhaps there's more to the story.
I,
Call me crazy.
there's a whole nother side of the story, but we're rolling with it.
We're
Okay.
rolling with it. Let's go.
Note on her phone that had a list of all the guys she slept with and ranking everyone. Oof, this is classic.
Is he ranked in it?
We're learning about that now. One of her exes had the highest ranking, and when I asked her about it, she admitted that he gave her the best orgasms.
Okay, first off, he deserves that because he was on
Yes,
the phone.
yes.
Deserves it.
First off, don't go through your girl's phone
Yep.
because she is petty
Yep.
AF.
Oh
So
yeah.
she's going to tell you about yourself.
Oh
So
my
you
God.
want to know why you weren't number one? Because you were looking through her phone. Okay.
Amen.
I was already feeling like our sex life was rocky, and now I found this out and not sure how to feel. What would you do, or how would you feel? Oh, edit. P.S.
Oh,
To further add, she was with her ex. She wasn't talking any. What? To further add, when she was with her ex, she wasn't taking any prescriptions, and she does now. She says that the prescriptions drastically lower her sex drive and the ability to orgasm. She also said that she has this first list since before she met me. Okay,
what
okay.
the fuck?
So let's break that part down.
Okay.
Okay, so so he's already feeling insecure about their sex life because they're not having as much sex.
Yeah. Yeah. Got
He
it.
goes through her phone probably because he's like, well, why aren't we having sex? She's probably cheating on me. So I'm going to
Mhm.
go through her phone. I'm just breaking this down of like chain reaction, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's making sense. Like, okay,
Yeah.
if we're not
So,
having sex that
oh, so
much,
we're
it's
not having
because she's having
sex.
sex with someone else, of
Yeah,
course.
so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
go through your phone and just
yeah.
see, instead of like asking you,
No.
let's
Yeah.
pretend, let's role play, Janice. You're my girlfriend and I'm the
I don't
boyfriend.
think I can. I think well, hold on. I feel like I need a whole no, I think I gotta get in character. I'm like
Okay,
thinking to
get in
myself,
character.
how would she talk? How would she Okay, let's try it.
Way too
Let's try
nice.
it.
You're extra.
What I
Okay,
need my
ready,
motivation.
scene. Honey, why aren't we having sex anymore?
Oh wait, time out. Are we role playing how they should have done it?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I was
Yeah. I
yeah.
don't know if we should do it that way. Okay, so hold on. Well, okay. I don't know about a role play on this one, but you could have just talked about it.
Let's just talk about right, like what he could have done instead that might have
Yeah,
gotten him to
like,
the
oh,
spot.
babe, I've
Meanwhile, I
noticed
love
that
that
you're
his biggest issue with all of this is the fact that her orgasms were better with somebody else. That's the biggest issue that he
yeah,
has.
yeah, so okay, I'm gonna get to that too. Okay. So all right, so let's break it down. They're not having sex that much anymore. Um,
Presumably because she's on medication.
Well,
That's
but
what
we
he
find
finds
it
out.
out at the end. So let's be
Right.
real about this. He's
Yeah.
not coming up front and saying, "Hey, she's probably on antidepressants," because
Right.
those are the big ones
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kill
yeah.
sex drive, right? And
Absolutely.
for women, you know, sex drive is very emotional,
Yeah.
and so when you're not feeling emotionally ept
That's
and
right.
and where you're at, that's the first thing to go
Yeah.
because our whole energy with that is about how we feel,
That's
right? We
right.
want to feel like goddesses. We want to feel like lionesses. We want to feel we want to, and if we don't feel that way about ourselves, how can we feel that we're going to think that our partner doesn't feel that way about us too?
That's right.
That's just human psyche, right? Male,
That's right.
female, indifferent, whatever. But then you add on top of it that, as this side note, I'm so glad he put this side note in here because this is your answer, ding dong. Like what? Okay, so your girlfriend is on medication now that kills her sex drive, and you're now looking through her phone to see if she's doing stuff. It's all wrong. Like you should be talking to her going, "Hey, I've noticed that this is an issue you know, um, is there anything that we can do? Is there anything I can do for you? Is there
Yeah.
anything that you need from me? How can I help you feel better? Blah, blah, blah. Instead of going through her freaking phone, like, bro, like you're gonna find shit that you don't want to find. This is where
Whenever,
she's
right. Whenever you go to
journaling.
the phone.
These are her
Exactly.
thoughts. These are all those
Yep.
things. So if you don't want to find out things that you don't want to know, don't go looking for them. That's just
So
where I'm at. You need to talk
And
to her.
because, no, that's exactly right. And so at the core of this, and we know this, right? That from a statistics perspective, the things that kind of doom relationships, communication, money, right? Those kinds of things. And so
Infidelity.
honestly, the thing that I'm going to recommend first before anything else, given that he has essentially said the biggest issue here is our sex life is not as good as it was when we first got together. And now he's branched off into, oh, and now I'm digging through her phone, and no, now she says it's because of this, and oh, by the way, because there's that other issue of like, she wants to get
Trust.
married, she's already planning the wedding, you have
Ooh,
to propose, like all of that stuff is all jacked up. But in terms of the sex piece, and you and I have talked about this before, I read this incredible book called Sex Talks, and the author
yeah.
was on another podcast, armchair expert that I really love. And I listened to the audible of this book finally because they interviewed her. She's a sex therapist. They interviewed her about her book that came out, and so I was like, I got to read this book. This book is a book that everybody should read because it's very much like a toolkit on when your relationship is struggling, centered around sex. Here's how you can think about trying to deal with it. And
Right.
some of the big pieces that I took away are that first and foremost, almost almost to the like 99.999% of the time, something you're experiencing around your sex life is normal. It's something everybody
Yes.
experiences. And she does such a great job breaking it down. You said earlier a few minutes ago, women need dot dot dot. So true. She does a great job of showing that it's actually not always gender specific what we need.
No.
It's that
Yeah.
we have types in terms of how we think about sex. Some people
Our languages.
responsive, others need the emotion piece first, and it can be guy or girl or non-gender, right? It's not even, it doesn't have to be based on genders. So anyway, I'm going to always, from now on, anytime we talk about anything, I'm going to say, go read this book. So the first thing they need to do is go read this book. However, I actually don't know that based on everything in this thing, that there's a relationship to salvage there. It kind of sounds like maybe there's not a relationship to
Yeah,
salvage.
it sounds kind of like lopsided, like she's making wedding plans, but yet not working on the current status,
Exactly.
and he's trying to work on the current status and not work on the future plans.
Mhm.
So they're on two different
That's
chapters,
exactly right.
and so what they need to do is bring it back to the same
Yep.
level and go,
That's
okay,
right.
this is where you're at, and these are your plans and your
Yep.
goals, but I'm right here and I'm having a hard time moving forward from right now. So
That's right.
what's gonna, they need to bridge that gap and talk about what's gonna get them to their both, happy places to where, but also it sounds like they need to really talk because it doesn't sound like he wants, like he's asking for perfection and she's just asking for comfort.
That's
Like
right.
it's now she's on medication, maybe she's feeling better. Now she can actually think
Yep.
about the future because right now is calm and she's managing it. And he feels like it's out of disruption because it's not calm anymore. It's not fulfilling for him right now. And it's hard
Exactly.
for him to plan for the future.
Yeah.
So again, they're on those two different things and they just need to like and talk
Yeah.
and go, okay, we need to move forward from here. What are our goals now?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and invest time into each other and do those things because they've been together for 2 years. It's probably gotten a little stale in other areas too for
Yeah.
her. And so then it's in turn made it stale for him in certain areas. So it's
Yeah.
just really communication, guys. Be honest with each other. If you don't want to get married, don't be with somebody that's planning a wedding.
I mean, I was,
That's
yeah, that's
all.
exactly right. I love how you put that in terms of first off, you have to kind of get on the same plane. Right now, you're not even on the same plane with each other. Um, and and seek to understand each other, like you said,
Yes.
right? Because if she's satisfied with where they are and he's not, whether it's the sex, whether it's the
Never going to work.
whatever,
It'll
then
fail.
it's not going to work. And so I recommended the sex talk book. I'm also going to recommend if you've never watched the show Couples Therapy.
Oh
I'm going
my
to
gosh,
recommend you
yeah.
go watch that as well, right? Because again, it's a reality show, if you will, right? The therapist in it's fantastic, but again, it's not because you can watch it as a couple and get fixed, but you can watch it and go again. Oh, lots of people experience this. Oh, this is actually normal. So it kind of takes that stigma off of it.
Right.
And honestly, it can help you think about like, am I actually invested enough to fight for this? Because if I'm not, that's my answer. Like it's time to peace out, right? And if
Yeah.
you are, then you can seek out. Like there's so many ways for couples to get support now, right? Because I agree with you. This is all about communication, but it's probably not going to be as simple for them to be like force ourselves to talk, right? There's something that's preventing them from communicating really clearly with each other. Lots of couples experience that. Some can get through on their own, and lots of people need help, right? And they seek it
Right.
in different ways. So yeah,
Yeah.
decide
Well,
if it's go find it.
yeah, and exactly. And when it comes to sex, I mean, it's one of those things that everybody has, but nobody wants to talk
Oh
about.
yeah,
And
yep,
and the more we talk about it and the more we communicate in the way that the things that we like, what we don't like, what makes us feel sexy, doesn't make us feel sexy, all of
yep,
those things, again, just like your book, it's all about communication and educating each other, your partner, on what is going to be pleasurable for you and increase that connection. And it's not just the physical act, and
exactly.
so even that, because when women shut down or when people shut down that aspect of their relationship, it's usually not the other person unless there's infidelity or something like that. It's typically
Yeah.
the person that's shutting it down. There's something
Oh
going on
yeah,
with them. So your best bet is just to talk to them and
yeah.
find out what's going on, because more than likely it's not you, it's something that's going on with them, and the best thing you can do is support them.
I agreed. And sometimes it really is about like we don't even know what we need ourselves, right? Like and I will tell you the thing I loved about this book, and again, shameless plug for this author. The first chapter is called Destroying the Fucking Fairy Tale.
Right.
And it's about exactly that
Fairy tale.
we're so set up based on movies and magazines and all the things to believe
Or programmed.
that
Yeah.
great sex happens in 5 minutes. right? Like, oh, we look across the room, we make eye contact. The next thing you know, we're ripping each other's clothes off, and it's like perfect for everybody, right? So the fucking fairy tale, I think, is such an important part of that because it is that. And what she helps you understand is that it's a journey across the course of a relationship, right? And there
And
are
you
going to be
change.
times where it's amazing, and there's going to be times when it's stale, and there's going to be times. The question is, how do you equip yourself when it's not great to be either satisfied or to get it back there, right? And you have to actually work on that. That's not something that happens by accident, right?
And together.
And you have to be able to say it out loud. Like if you and your partner have never actually talked about sex with each other, you've just had lots of sex, there's going to be a problem eventually. If you've
Yeah,
never talked about it, there's going to be a problem eventually, right? So, yeah, like you said, got to talk it out, man.
that's
And
right.
hey, if you want to come on our show and talk about it, we're happy to do
Let's
that with you.
go.
Just drop us a note. Drop us a
That's
note. We'd
right.
be
That's
happy to do
right.
it. I love it. All
Okay,
right.
so
We are
well, let
saving
me
the world right now. I just want to make sure I hope our 5 listeners are pausing right now and going, wow, they are literally saving the world.
the world,
The world.
the
The
whole
world.
world.
You're welcome, world.
So yeah, so okay, let's talk about this listener email real quick, and then
Okay.
we will wrap up. So they're from the UK, and
Oh
they're
my God.
both in their 20s.
We're international.
Yeah. So it says basically we're both expecting our very first baby, child, daughter together very soon, and we're hoping to have a
Oh,
baby boy later down the road.
oh,
If things go to plan properly, planning with the second child, another together anyway, we both want to know the best ways are to engage and bond, interact, and love my girlfriend's belly. Like he's wanting to know how to interact with her while she's
oh.
pregnant, and then suggest any good baby books that we could both consider getting looked into our daughter, so that way one of us can read to her whenever she wants. One of us, blah blah blah. I mean, like they're like really trying to do some research. Recommend any toys, recommending
Yep.
some baby toys, TV shows, maybe cartoons, Disney Plus, whatever. And then bonding time activities that we could do both together with her. It's just so cute. Also, our AKA belly farts, raspberries, la, 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 good for development. Like he was asking,
Oh, that's so
no,
cute.
it's so
That's
cute.
so cute.
Um, Good ways to make our daughter giggle, laugh, tickle her tummy. I'm like, it's kind of interesting, like the
Yeah.
questions, but also it's very cute. Um, I kind of think this is a joke. I now that I'm reading it, also, can you ladies recommend, suggest what we should both be considering our child, or sorry. I also want to, we both want to know if we were going to choose what type of belly button our daughter is born with. Either she has an innie belly button or an outie belly button, or does it depend on
My
how the umbilical cord
God.
feels after birth? Me and
I
my
don't
boyfriend are
care.
both outies.
I don't care if this is a
This
joke
is so
because
cute.
they wrote the longest fucking email. Like I'm like, okay, if you invested that much time to write a joke email,
This is
I love
hilarious.
you.
We're doing it. We're going to joke back with
100%.
you, and we're going to
But it
answer
comes back to
questions.
what we said at the top of the show. If our listeners have advice, if you could go back and do it over again, what are a couple of things that you would say to these parents? 100% you should do blank, whether it's around connecting with their baby, whether it's a
Yep.
type of food, whether it's a particular toy that your kid loved, whether it's something they shouldn't do because you did it and you're now going, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Like, what is your 2 or 3 kind of best pieces of advice? Email them to us. Use the link in the show notes, of course, and we'll share them. Like we'll share them with them. I love the idea. And
Right.
honestly, first off, I'm loving the idea of us going back and thinking about our own experience when our kids
Yes.
because our youngest kids are 16, 17 years old, 15 years old, 13 years old. Um, and then it just gives us a chance to do that. I love it. I
Oh
can't
no.
wait.
Well,
And I will say this with all the parenting stuff I've done around teens, at the core of all of that is start when they're born. Don't
yes.
start doing any of that when they turn 13. So I
Yeah.
love it.
Well, yeah, and then you know, I think that we could also add in there all the cool shit that they have now for babies
Oh,
that we didn't
please.
have. And I'm like, yeah, and then you the bottle warmer and the other
They
things
were
and
ripped
the
off.
cool space strollers. Like you guys have no
Oh
idea.
yeah.
My ex-husband bungee corded a car seat to a umbrella stroller as
As a stroller. Yeah.
so we could go to the
Emphasis on X.
Yes.
However, I will say this. Sometimes people do what they got to do. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
because the other thing,
resources. Resources.
right? It's all about what resources you have, and not everybody has all the resources to get all the Gucci stuff, all the highest end. So the key is trying to do some safety stuff.
Well, if I could just add a little more context, on the back of his 69 Toyota Land Cruiser, it's stenciled on there with spray paint, yeehaw. So I
Okay.
just wrapping it with that.
We're just going to end it there and say, write in if you want to be a part of the next episode. That's what we're going to talk about. Love it. Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. Without you guys, always follow, subscribe. And yes, we want to shift from Reddit to your emails to bring you on our show
Every
because
time.
Jane and I both listen to so many different podcasts. And we definitely love the idea of being in that space where we can bring real people on because
Totally.
we're never going to be in the space where we're the people who are interviewing celebrities. Obama's never coming on our show,
You don't
but
know that. You
we
don't know that.
no, no.
Michelle might.
Okay, Michelle, maybe.
Ah, yes.
But 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 honestly, the majority of people who who listen to podcasts are people just like us, and so really bringing real people into it and solving real issues is exactly what we're here to do. So like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Otherwise, peace out, you guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.